Voices drift on winds untamed, words like spells that can't be named. Close your eyes and feel the sound. Journey where no bounds are found. Open doors inside your mind. Leave the ordinary far behind. Colors swirl and stars align. In the meta mysteries you'll find.
Welcome to Meta Mysteries, where you don't know what you don't know. My name's Jonathan.
I'm Sean.
And today is going to be such a fun and mind-expanding / melting episode because, as Dolores Cannon used to say, it's going to twist your mind into a pretzel. Because this is what we try to do. We try to apply certain concepts that we come to understand and, just try and apply them to everything to see if it holds up, right? We want to see if these concepts hold water, because it's one thing if it makes sense here, but it doesn't make sense over there. In my opinion, what's true is all the way true every which way, no matter what context you put it in. And that's what we're searching for, is absolute truth whenever it comes to anything spiritual. So today we're actually going to be diving into one specific, what is it called? Of the Hermetic principles. Sorry, just had a total brain fart. We're going to be getting into one of the Hermetic principles today. And if you want, you can go back. We actually read the whole book, the 7 Hermetic principles. Actually, it was called the Kabbalion, which has the 7 Hermetic principles in it. And it was written by the 3 initiates. It's always 3,
right.
It's
anonymous. Yeah, it's anonymous. So it makes it kind of exciting.
Right. And even that, which was written, I think it was written in the early 1900s, but even they claim that it wasn't something that they just learned or they just downloaded or something like that. It was information that was essentially passed down, possibly through lineages, possibly through ancient religious and spiritual teachings, such as a lot of the Egyptian stories, some of it Thoth, which is Egyptian, with the Emerald Tablets, and also in Mesopotamian lore and a lot of things. So, and that's the thing. Look, if something is true, it should hold the test of time, and it should check out with no matter what thing that you're measuring it against, right? Isn't that how you find what truth is?
Oh, absolutely, dude. And the thing that I'm most excited about is, because we have covered the 7 Hermetic principles, and this was a while back ago, and I imagine that your lens, my lens is so much more evolved than it was. And so I'm really interested, and I'm sure there's going to be a whole lot more information that you've kind of put together for us in this episode. And I'm excited to see kind of how that twists my brain into a pretzel, because I kind of enjoy that, because it I don't know, it's instead of just saying, oh, okay, this is how I know it, right? And just that's your reality. It's like, okay, now take that and apply all of this with it and see if it still goes, like you said. And so I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, it's a little bit kind of almost integrity driven. So it's like integrity is like doing the right thing even whenever nobody's looking, kind of thing. So you remain true to yourself through and through, right? And I like to look at this whenever I'm comparing something. Does it check out against every other aspect of the world? And I'll give you an example. Let's say, here's one thing that absolutely checks out, no matter the context, is math, right? 1 + 1 will always equal 2. You got one car plus one car, you got 2 cars. You got one Jesus cross and another Jesus cross, you got 2 Jesus crosses. Like, it checks out across the board, right? And so how does polarity, duality, and transcendence all check out no matter the context? That's what we're going to apply today to try and see, not only does it hold up, but what can we learn about life, nature, ourselves, and everything else through this lens whenever we apply it to everything. And we have a bunch of different things that we're going to be checking it out against. We're going to see if it holds up. And Sean, you tell me if it doesn't hold up or if it does, sir.
All right, man. Take us on that journey.
So we are going to be getting into actually the shadow of every path: polarity, duality, and transcendence. We're going to be exploring how every belief system creates its own mini matrix of light and shadow, and how true transcendence comes only by fusing them and rising beyond the game. Okay?
All right. All right.
It's going to be a fun one, dude. I'm not going to lie. Whenever I was doing a little bit of research and kind of creating some of the notes and stuff earlier, I started to get a little bit emotional, because if it's something that holds true, then man, it resonates. It hits. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's certain things that whenever you hear it, it just resonates. And maybe that's what Gnosticism actually is. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Something you hear and you just know it's true, man.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Yeah.
You don't have to really question it, and you can question it, and when you do question it, it still, like you said, holds water, man. So
exactly. So where do we start? We're going to be getting into living in a two-sided reality. It's how we're going to look at every single part of every single thing as if everything has two sides. Because if polarity is a real thing and is one of the 7 Hermetic principles, then it should exist everywhere.
Yep.
So, we live in a world that is built on two-ness, day and night, love and fear, good and evil. The very fabric of our existence feels like a dance between opposites, and no matter which way you look, you can't escape it. This isn't just philosophy, it's the lived experience of being human. In Hermetic philosophy, this is captured in the principle of polarity. This is the principle. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. It tells us that what we call good and evil, holy and profane, are actually two ends of the same stick. But here's the twist. We often assume that if we just pick the quote-unquote right end, the right religion, the right morality, the right path, that we can escape the other. But what if that's an illusion? Every religion, spirituality, and magical practice offers a kind of matrix. When you step into it, you gain its gifts, its light, its wisdom, its power, but you also take on its shadow, its baggage, and its limitations. This is why even the most quote-unquote pure path has its demons. Christianity has Satan. Islam has jinn. New Age spirituality has the shadow. And even Peter Pan had a shadow. And that shadow isn't a flaw. It's part of the design. So in this episode, we're diving deep into the universal truth that every path keeps you in polarity until you transcend it entirely. And we'll explore what that transcendence really means. Not running from darkness, not clinging to the light, but shining a light on all of it and then rising above it. What do you think?
What a way to start this, dude. This is great, man. I'm excited.
Oh, man. Yeah, this will definitely get you excited in the old chonies.
No.
Yeah, buddy. So the first part we're going to get into is the principle of polarity explained. So for anybody that doesn't know about the Kabbalion or the seven Hermetic principles, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into what all that means. Polarity is more than opposites. It's a universal framework that keeps things in motion. In Hermeticism, polarity is the law that says all things exist in complementary pairs. Heat and cold, high and low, birth and death. These aren't separate forces battling each other. They are two expressions of the same thing at different degrees. For spirituality, this means that when you name something holy, you are automatically creating unholy. When you name something light, you're casting a shadow. When you define good, you also define evil. This isn't an accident. It's a byproduct of living in a dualistic system. But here's the thing. Your belief system determines the rules of the polarity that you experience. A Christian doesn't fear the same quote-unquote evil as a magician. A Buddhist doesn't wrestle with the same shadow as a Muslim. Your chosen path defines what the poles are and keeps you in its matrix. So, this is what I was trying to figure out, and this is something that has always gotten in my mind. I'm like, how is it that, I mean, we live in America. A lot of people here are either Christian or Muslim. I mean, whenever we're talking about the mainstream religions. Yeah. You got your Mormons over in Utah, but that's more,
When we're talking numbers, yeah, dude.
I mean, it's the same thing, basically. In essence, is that, you know, they're going to have angels and demons, the same thing, essentially. But how is it that Christians, anytime there is some kind of darkness, you're never going to see a slender man if you're a Christian.
Right.
You're never going to see I don't know, whatever the scariest thing you can imagine. It's always a demon. It's always Satan. It's always Beelzebub. It's always Baphomet. It's always Baal. It's always Belial. It's always these different types of demons and Satan and Lucifer's, and it's always of that flavor.
That's the bad guy of that reality, that lens.
And conversely, why is it that the Muslims are the only one that ever see the jinn? Why is that? I've never seen a jinn in my life. I've never seen a demon in my life. I'm almost jealous. I'm almost jealous. I mean,
It's
knock
so
on wood, I don't want that to
intertwined.
happen, but it's not going to happen because I don't believe in the opposite of the polarity that they believe in.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's
And see,
like-
that's when we talk about, well, that's in your reality or that's in my reality, when surely we can say that there is somewhat of an objective thing happening, but when we say your reality or my reality, it's that subjectiveness to the confines of your belief system. And so that creates your, basically how you see things, how you experience things, what you're afraid of.
100%. And just to add a little sauce to this, I'll give you an example. So my co-host Jacob on the Cult of Conspiracy, he has talked about his demon story many a time. So I feel like I'm probably privy to being able to make an example out of it. Whenever he was young, he went out on, now he grew up either Christian or Catholic. I think both. I think his mom was Catholic and his dad was Christian, or vice versa. But he was always around that kind of stuff, right? Maybe he was going to church, or maybe, his parents were talking about it. Maybe they had some gospel playing in the background at all times, right? Or some gospel music or whatever, right? But whenever he was younger, he said, I think he was on the playground as a little kid. So it must have been like 5. He must have been like 5 or 6 years old whenever this happened, because it was on the playground at school. So whenever he was on the playground at school, he kept on seeing like his grandma swinging on a swing that nobody else was around. Problem was his grandma was dead. Right. But he didn't even think to put 2 and 2 together at the first moment. Who would? Right. You'd be like, oh my God, that's my grandma. Right.
Yeah.
So he kept on seeing her, and lo and behold, over time, she started to essentially shapeshift into a stinky, droopy, baggy old demon, right? He got so scared that it literally followed him around for a large portion of his life. And whenever that happened, I asked him, I was like, so wait, you were out on the playground, and this was at school, so there must have been all the other kids in your class or in your grade that were also playing outside on the playground at the same time. Right. Plus, I'm sure you had some teachers or some gym teachers or whatever that were out there with you as well. And I can't imagine that the playground was so large that nobody had an eye on you.
Right.
I can't imagine that. So I was like, how is it? So are you the only one that saw this demon? He goes, well, I think so. And I said, well, I'm pretty sure you were the only one, or else maybe somebody else might have had something to say, know?
Right.
And
or at the very least, they would have saw his grandma and been like, oh, your grandma's here? Did she sign in through the office or something?
But the thing is that he was the only one to see it. So this is where my mind goes. I'm like,
as far as we know anyway. Right.
As far as we know, and he's confirmed it because he said that this demon was following him into his teens and I think up into his 20s. And until there was this amazing angel that came and shot the demon. Yeah, shot the demon with the flaming bow and arrow. He had long, luscious blonde locks and colored eyes. He was super ripped. Yeah. His name just so happened to be Jonathan. But
super ripped.
Yeah. But I was asking, I was like, so does that mean that demon either A, was not real because you were the only one that could see it, right? B, this demon's interdimensional and somehow has some kind of cloaking device that only allowed you to see him.
Right.
Or did you just was this fear made manifest? Right. That's the only things that make sense to me. And I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say that he's full of shit. I believe him. You know,
Well, it's definitely an experience. He definitely experienced that, and I believe that.
That's one thing for me. I will never take away somebody's experience. I mean, because I'd be damned if somebody tries to take away my experience. Okay,
You
all
didn't
right.
cuddle segment, dude. I don't believe you.
Yeah, I know. Like, why would I make that up? You know,
Right. Yeah.
And I didn't even know who the fuck Sekhmet was before that.
It's too weird to make up, I feel like.
That's what I think. So basically, I say this: was it his fear made manifest, and subconsciously his beliefs at that time, with him being a Christian, that the the most scary thing that could possibly ever realistically exist to a Christian would be a demon, right?
Right.
Is that possibly what was going on? And
You can say and how old was he when he first saw the demon?
I think like 5 or 6.
5 or 6. Okay. I mean, because when you're at that age, for the most part, I mean, you're not really going through, I mean, unless there was something going on, but I mean, usually you would think that there would be some type of traumatic thing to happen and to trigger some type of fear and anxiety or something like that. You know what I mean? And so you're 5 years old and this is just happening, like, where did that fear come from?
Well, and my point is not to denigrate his experience or call him a liar or say that he's making it up in his mind.
Right, that's understood.
Actually, what I believe is that it actually is happening because of his beliefs, because of duality, because of polarity. It has to be that.
Right. I think it's very interesting how I was thinking something along the same lines as far as you creating that reality in which you believe, right? And I was just thinking about this today, and like how shit. Fuck, I lost my train of thought, dude. It was going to be good too. It'll come back.
I believe you. I believe that it's going to be good. But basically, my main thing that I'm trying to say is that I think that every single belief system is a literal matrix. Okay. And like, that's not an exaggeration. I mean, quite literally. So I'll give you an example. Your boy, Danny Goler, right? Whenever he trips balls and he does DMT, 500 times or 800 times, however many times he's done it, he's become so accustomed to it. But I almost wonder if what he's seeing is what he subconsciously knows or has come to expect or believes, and it's almost projecting out from his own mind. Because if you think about it, if we look at all the different, you look into string theory, it says that there's up to 11, 12, 13 dimensions or whatever it is. These things don't necessarily have to exist as physical things. Everything is, just like Nikola Tesla said, everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. That's it.
Right.
So essentially, and whenever you look at the double slit experiment, right, that literally it changes its form when it's being looked at. Is that not you projecting onto that thing?
Right. Using consciousness. And I think I remember what I was about to say. Maybe it's not even that good, but it had to do with whenever it comes to the non-physical realm, the things that are possibly happening, or maybe you're projecting it to happen just based off of what you believe. When it comes to the non-physical things, that is shaped totally by your beliefs. And so that's what you see, or quote unquote see, and as far as the physical reality, we can all agree that this is a microphone and what have you. But when it comes to the non-physical nature, whether it's in the 9th dimension or 11th or whatever it is, I feel like that's when there's so much probability and capability to shape into whatever, kind of like when we go into a meditation, you're in that sense, you're at least maybe halfway removed from your physical body. Like if you bring your awareness to your body, you can go, okay, there's my body. For the most part, I think you're trying to get away from that physicality of yourself.
Yes.
Right. And so then that's when you can have an encounter or a message or you see a mantis being, abductions and the DMT realm and it's all of the same space.
Bro, I'll give you a perfect example. And this is going to just help everybody see if you don't. I mean, I'm sure everybody is catching our drift about what we're saying, but give you another perfect example in another context. Did you know that Slenderman is a made-up character? It was like a comic thing, right?
Right.
Never
that's
existed.
what I assumed, anyway.
Never existed up until, I think, maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago. 15 years ago, something like that, right? how come people are now seeing it in reality now?
Because it's an egregore. Dude.
What does it represent? It represents
dark?
fucking fear made manifest.
Right.
It's like the scariest
I
thing.
haven't seen the movie or whatever, but I do remember it was about 10 years ago or so.
Right,
you know?
right. And you can probably say the same thing for like the poltergeist. You know what I'm saying? Like, and everybody might have their definition of what a poltergeist is, but I mean, dude, I can't tell you, like, every time, like, there was a period in my life where as soon as I saw the Ring movie, the first one, I just, for years, if I was ever watching TV in my living room by myself, I expected that bitch to crawl through my TV, bro.
Right. It was definitely possible, right? Especially if the TV went fuzzy. You're like, no.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Right.
Fix that cable, right?
And so that message being in the back of my mind, already something that I'm scared with. So whenever I'm scared, my brain's like searching. What's the thing that scares him the most? Bang, let's fucking project it right here now. And so you're just matching with the energy of what your subconscious already previously held in the first place.
Yeah, I was just watching. I started watching the old Twilight Zone episodes just because I feel like I think I mentioned it before, but there's this one where he understands that his imagination is very powerful, and he was like staring in his rearview mirror, and you could hear like a audible, like a dialogue going over the film, you know, and he's saying, I know that my imagination is so strong that if I keep thinking about it, somebody's going to appear in my back seat, you know, and I feel like that's how it works, man. There's been times, you know, maybe we come off of an episode, we're talking about interdimensional beings, and maybe there are definitely dark entities out there that can just kind of peek in and peek out, or sleep paralysis, you know, and so I'm laying there, and it's completely dark. The lights are out now. And, you know, when you close your eyes and it's dark, you can see like floating things. And like, it just feels like, I mean, maybe you're going into that theta state of mind, and it feels like things are more possible. Like this just happened to me the other night. And it actually made me a little bit fearful, because I'm like, obviously we say it all the time. Like, we don't know. And so if I'm laying there and I'm in the theta state of mind, and I'm already kind of in that fearful state. Well, now because I know what I do know, I'm like, well, if I'm in a fearful state, now something bad is potential.
Right.
You know? And so then I start to feed into that, and then eventually I guess I fall asleep, but it's like, that's a real thing.
Well, and
at
that's
least personally.
And that's something that once you become aware of, whenever you're embodying that negative emotion, if you're if you're in that fearful state, then if you can remind yourself to just be here, be present, be aware, you can remind yourself that fear is just essentially a vibration, and you don't want to give off that vibration, because the universe, or you, or the ether, or however you like to look at it, will, or maybe you even believe that that, you know, demons or whatever are real, but they can only access you whenever you're in that state of fear. Whatever you got to do in your mind, get the fuck out of there. Get out of there. And I don't care if you got to, you know, pull out your phone and watch, I don't know, the like Teletubbies or whatever, to get your mind off of it, like something so silly and so stupid or whatever that is going to reprogram your mind to not be fearful in that moment. Exactly.
I'm thinking Fantastic Mr. Fox would just pull you right out of that, I think.
Such a classic. Such a classic movie. So anyway, all right, let's start going into some more examples here. So the first example we're going to bring up, obviously, is Christianity. So angels and demons, God and Satan. So the Christian matrix, and that's what we're going to call all of these, instead of calling them a religion or a spiritual philosophy or whatever, look at them all as if they are matrices, that whenever you take hold of the belief that you're entering into a literal world where you're opening the door to both the good and the ugly of the entire stick of the polarity
framework. Right.
So the Christian matrix gives incredible gifts: a moral compass, a sense of divine relationship, and the promise of salvation. But stepping into it also opens the door to an eternal battle with Satan, sin, and hell. Christianity frames life as a war zone between absolute good, God, and absolute evil, the devil. The psychological side of this is fascinating. Demons often mirror the parts of humanity that Christianity tells us to suppress: lust, rage, rebellion, and questioning authority. The Christian shadow is the repressed self projected outward as a literal devil.
Mm-hmm.
See what we're saying here?
Yep.
This matrix can be elevating, even life-saving, but it can also be suffocating. The polarity keeps you fighting, praying, and striving, never allowing you to realize that heaven and hell exist within the same field and that you are beyond both if you choose to step out of that.
Just a matter of perception and what you're willing to accept.
Everything is demonic. This is why. It's because, like it said up here, lust, rage, rebellion, and questioning authority, and you can also include other even spiritual practices. Because if you remember, whenever the whole Council of Nicaea happened, Emperor Constantine, he was trying to essentially rope in all of the different pagan frameworks and whatnot, right? Except he decided to bring them in and bring them, make them like part of the holiday system, right? Like, you had the winter solstice, which they eventually turned to Christmas, which that whole thing, right?
Right.
And so it's just like he tried to bring it all together in a sense, but also bastardized everything else in that moment. You're no longer going to pray to the old gods because they're literally Satan. You're no longer going to practice these old things because those are rituals of Satan, right? And so that's how you get everybody away from it, is that you scare the shit out of them, right?
And it works.
And that's what it absolutely works. It's like if you're suppressing the actual nature of the people that were practicing these pagan, whatever they were doing, then and now you're telling them that you're going to stop and we're going to look at you as sinners, and if we kill you, our religion is going to be okay with that because you are literally working for the devil.
Right.
You're the adversary.
The whole thing against questioning authority, that's kind of strange. It's like saying don't do your own research, like we got the answers for you right here,
Yeah. So that's just a little taste of Christianity and angels and demons and God and Satan. Yep. We're just trying to give a little spark note version of this. Then you have Islam with Allah and the jinn. Allah meaning God, the jinn meaning, which we already did a whole episode. This is why this is so profound, because we know the etymology of the word demon and we know the etymology of the word jinn. And
they're both the same thing.
And they're basically both the same goddamn thing. Okay?
Yeah. And I never would have guessed that, though. Until we learned that, I never would have even put that together.
And they also stem from something not evil, which is the crazy thing.
Well, it all stems from you.
Well, you got demons inside of you, obviously. Yeah, I do. Actually, I do have a demon. It's actually a daemon, but whatever you want to call it.
Mine's a genius.
Yeah, exactly.
I wish he would chime in a little more often, though. To be honest,
I think he probably chimes in more often than you think.
I'm just not listening. I'm a bad listener, probably.
Well, meditation is good for that. But
all right.
So Islam offers a beautiful matrix of structure, devotion, and submission to the divine. But it also comes with its shadow, the unseen beings known as the jinn. These entities, made of a smokeless fire, they tempt, mislead, and challenge you. Sounds very symbolic of the demon, right?
Yep.
The presence
Same
of the
attributes.
Yes, exactly. So the presence of the jinn keeps the believers humble and on guard, but it also reveals something deeper, that submission to God is defined by resistance to something else. You can't fully inhabit this matrix without also acknowledging its shadow. This is the lesson of all polarity systems. You cannot separate the good from its opposite. They literally define each other.
There's always a price to pay, man. Nothing's free.
And that's the thing. Like, just look at it. If we're calling it light and dark, let's just put it like that, right? You shine a light into a dark room. Everything around that light, everything outside of however broad the lumens go or whatever, everything outside of that is darkness. It's only until you decide to shift your flashlight over a couple of inches and then you start to illuminate the rest of the room. But in this sense, this is saying that everything outside of that flashlight is all evil.
It's bad.
But it's not, because all you need to do is just shift the fucking flashlight over and you shine light on it and illuminate it. And oh my God. And this is what I find so funny. Like, even like people that are scared of the Illuminati, it's like, what, you're scared of people being illuminated?
Right.
You know, like, and the same thing with like the Freemasons. I know, you know, I come from the conspiratorial realm and but what I'm saying is that I think that the roots of a lot of these ancient philosophies and these secret teachings and stuff like that, they're probably founded in waking you up so that you can become illuminated, because once you're illuminated, there is no more darkness. And if there's no more darkness, there's nothing to be scared of anymore. And if there's also no more darkness, maybe you start to, don't make me blasphemous whenever I say this, maybe you become like God. Okay?
Right. Yeah, definitely. Definitely much more capable. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, and look no further than the Enki and Enlil story as far as the whole illumination. It's literally the Enlil and Enki story. They almost mimic the Garden of Eden story. Almost what for what, bro? It's the same damn story.
Yep, the jealousy aspect of that. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, you got one being saying, "Oh, don't do this." You got the other being saying, "You should probably try it." You know, it's the same story. It's just conceptualized in different lands and different times, but it's the same core story.
Different words, right?
So now we're going to get over to spirituality. We always talk about the shadow, so let's talk about it a little bit more in conjunction with polarity. So step out of organized religion and into modern spirituality, and you find a new matrix: love, light, intuition, manifestation. But even here, the shadow creeps in, often in the form of unintegrated unconscious. This is where Carl Jung's work is invaluable. He wrote, in this quote, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. If you only chase the good vibes, you bypass the work. This is how spiritual bypassing becomes its own shadow. Avoiding darkness at all costs only feeds it." The New Age Matrix has its angels and demons too. They just look like inner wounds, unprocessed trauma, and the spiritual ego, which, okay, I just got to point this out real quick. My God. I mean, I have been, like, all I do in my free time is just scroll on TikTok. I'm always looking for new ideas, and I'm always looking for maybe people to invite on the show or whatever, you know. It's just for, I don't know, curiosity more than anything. Yep. And there are so many people out there that are so egoic, calling themselves spiritual. I'm like, you actually think that you know everything. Like,
that's laughable.
The mark of a smart person is his ability to identify that he knows nothing or she knows nothing, whatever.
That's
right?
true wisdom, right?
That's true
Socrates.
wisdom.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. So anyway, just wanted to throw that one out there. Then we get into your boy Peter Pan. My favorite movie of all time is Hook. Just a classic.
So,
So Peter Pan, let's get into that story. Peter Pan, the eternal boy, lives in a magical world of flight and freedom. But even he has a shadow, one that follows him, one that must be acknowledged. This isn't just a fun Disney subplot. It's a mythological truth that no matter how high you fly, your shadow comes with you. Every hero, every mystic, every seeker carries this burden. And every path, no matter how enlightened, has its shadow side. The shadow isn't there to destroy you. It's there to make you whole. So
it's the other half, man. You got to integrate it.
That's it. Yes. And to be honest, you can look, this is why personally, I've always been obsessed with superheroes and Marvel and DC and all that stuff, right? Like that is, I could watch it all day. I've seen just about every Marvel and DC movie. Yeah. If you look at it, every single superhero has a shadow of sorts. Maybe they have one villain that they focus on more than others, right? Like Spider-Man got the Green Goblin, and Superman has his Kryptonite, and Batman has the Joker, and they all have like something. And if it's not a main supervillain, they're battling themselves internally.
Right. I was just going to say that. Like Thor literally couldn't use his own hammer because he wasn't worthy. You know, that was something that was going on inside of himself.
Yeah, and if you've ever seen, dude, this is an awesome show. It's based on Teen Titans, like the cartoon, but they made it into a series, like a real series. It's called Titans, right? It's so damn good, dude. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. But in there, you see that literally the majority of these characters, their worst enemy is themselves. They're battling shit that is so internal that it's almost the reason why they have to go and fight crime, to one, kind of release a little bit of steam, and for two, they think that maybe that evil within them or that darkness within them is going to escape or something along those lines, right?
Yeah.
But what's fascinating...
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, dude.
What I was going to say is what's fascinating is that we all know that we need that duality. We need that polarity. Because did you know that whenever Superman, the comic, was first created, that he literally there was nothing that could beat him. They had to create kryptonite. Okay? So, and people got tired of watching it. People got so tired of like, oh, this guy, he's just going to win every fight. There's nothing that can take him out. Right. Yeah, there's nothing that can take him out. It's almost like if you're a fan of wrestling, Goldberg had like the longest win streak of all time. It was like crazy.
Heel, man.
Right.
Yep. They understood that.
Exactly. And eventually he ended up losing, right? Well, Superman eventually ends up getting his kryptonite, and now there's something that even some silly character can use against him, and it's literally his kryptonite. We all know the saying, right?
Yep.
But he needed that, or else people weren't going to watch it. Because why? Because it was unrealistic. You're talking about a superhero from another planet, and that's not the unrealistic part.
No.
It's the fact
that he has to be vulnerable to something.
It's the fact that he had no vulnerabilities. That's what was unrealistic about that whole story. So even
everybody saw through that.
Even we all know this to our core, to our subconscious level, is that there has to be polarity. Right?
That's great, dude. That's awesome. I would say Batman can take Superman. You know what I mean? He just gets some kryptonite batarangs. Boom. Done deal, man. What are we talking about?
Done now. Yeah. So now let's talk about the magicians and the wizards, the shadow of power. So when you enter the magical matrix, ceremonial magic, witchcraft, esoteric traditions, you gain incredible power, as we've seen before. You begin to bend reality, to call upon archetypes, to shape the world. But this path, more than any, tempts the ego. The shadow of the magician is hubris, the belief that power makes you a god. From Faust from the Faustian bargain, right? So from Faust's pact rather with I don't know this word, Mephistopheles. I don't know Greek. But anyway, from his pact with this character to the tragic arcs of fictional sorcerers, the warning is clear. Power without integration leads to corruption. Even seasoned occultists acknowledge that the greatest battle isn't with external forces, it's with themselves. And we know that too, just by reading Philip Cooper with The Magician. He goes, look, if you do a ritual and your goal is that whenever you come up out of this ritual, that there's going to be a fucking Lamborghini out in your driveway. And if you come up out of that ritual and there's not a Lamborghini, it's not because magic doesn't work. It's because you didn't believe it enough.
Right.
It's because you didn't do the ritual right enough. You didn't go above and beyond to absolutely make sure that this ritual was going to work. Well, think about what a ritual is. Whenever you're going through the whole process, it's essentially just you saying, all right, I want to push myself into a new matrix where this is already possible, where this is not only already possible, it's already happened, right? You're shifting literal dimensions or matrices or whatever. All of it is mental anyway. That's another Hermetic principle. All is mental.
All is mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The universe is the universe is all mind. The universe is mental or something like that. I think is
it's all in the mind. And anybody that's ever done a heroic dosage of, the sacred herb and plants and all that, you know it. And like, I think that's like its main purpose. Like they say that these psychedelics are essentially teachers, right? I think the main lesson that they're trying to teach you is that like, it's just mind. That's everything. That's all everything is.
Yeah,
Literally.
and I think it's interesting too, as far as because we've done a money spell before, and neither of us have done one since. And to me, I think why is that because I realize it would probably work. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it would do something, even if it's just in my own mind, and it would make it work. But for some reason, I haven't done another one because, in a sense, I feel like, and maybe this is the shadow aspect of that, is that I want to feel like I really deserve it, and it wasn't just some outside source that helped that along, and so like maybe let's just see how successful things can get before we try another money spell. I mean, and that's just me, I guess.
No, that's I think that's perfectly fine because you wouldn't do well, we've done it, but if it wasn't just me and you hanging out, you wouldn't trip on back-to-back days.
No.
Like because you would want a little bit of time to process whatever you just went through and or at least it's always in the back of your mind that if you go and trip a next time, then that lesson only lasted one day and now you're already asking for another one. Or you're, whatever you're trying to be taught or whatever you're trying to really grasp from what you gained. And so, you almost like you feel like, I don't know, maybe you just feel like that it's a very special moment and you don't want to just waste it on a random Monday or something.
Yeah. And I actually thought about this recently as far as when you went in on your second DMT trip, like I feel like you had your first experience, right? And so it was one of the coolest things you've ever experienced. You were so excited and went into that second one, maybe almost cocky. You know what I mean? And so you just did like the most DMT most people ever do in one go. And then it was like, oh, okay, you want to be like that? All right, nothing exists. Yeah. So I don't know, maybe that's the shadow aspect of the DMT realm.
Nothing exists, and you're the one that destroyed it.
You did that, Jonathan. You did that.
I did that because I just had to be cocky in that moment. And you're right. I definitely did get cocky in that moment. I mean, not only did I say, I want to do it again, but I want to double the dosage.
Yeah.
What a cocky son of a bitch, bro.
Yeah.
In that moment, I was just like, if anybody can do it, it's me. That's where my mind was, right?
Yeah, because even when you did the 4-ACO, I don't think on your second go you doubled the dosage. You were just like, that was awesome. Let me do that exact thing again.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I don't know, maybe there's something to that.
There's always a lesson to be learned.
You gonna learn today.
Gonna learn today. So, all right, let's get to duality and polarity in nature now. So step outside of religion and into nature, and you see polarity everywhere. Spring and fall, summer and winter, life and death. Unlike human systems, these dualities aren't moralized. They simply are. Nobody looks at winter as being evil. Nobody looks at summer as being holy, right? Same thing,
right?
But they just are. And that's how we should be looking at everything. This is a profound teaching that not all polarities are good versus evil. Some are complementary forces in a larger system. Even our politics are polarity in disguise. Left versus right, conservative versus progressive. Each side defines itself by its opposition. True transcendence isn't picking the right team. It's stepping out of the game entirely.
Damn. Even the Matrix had the red pill, blue pill. And then once he chose the red pill, he had Agent Smith. You know what I mean?
Yep, which was
what
him.
We're talking about.
Yeah, which was just him all along.
Yep.
Then we get to the shadow as, all right, so the shadow is necessary for growth. I think that's something that we can all agree on. So here's the uncomfortable truth. The shadow isn't just baggage, it's a teacher. It's friction that forces evolution. Without opposition, without challenge, without discomfort, we'd stagnate. But there's a danger. If you mistake the matrix for the final destination, you stay stuck. The shadow keeps you circling, fighting battles that aren't yours to win. Integration, facing the shadow, accepting it, is the only way out. So I used to think that like, all right, if because the Bible says that essentially that Earth is Satan's domain, right? Like this is Satan's playground, essentially. That God controls everything, but this is Satan's. And I used to think God, the literal Alpha and Omega, if he's so almighty and so powerful, how is it that he just allows Satan to take this. He just said, "Hey, Satan, you can have this one. I got all the rest of them."
Yeah. As far as we know, anyway, the only planet with humans on it, that's the one where he was like, okay, fine.
Not only just humans, his creation.
Yeah.
He allegedly formed us from the dirt and the clay, right? I mean, except for the women, he plucked that one from a rib. But same thing, still formed from that original clay and dirt, right? And so I used to always think, man, I almost wonder if Satan works for God. If the demons work for God, because there was a guy that we had on the Cult of Conspiracy like 6 or 7 months ago. His name was Demon Slayer or something like that, right? Okay. And he would talk to us about all of his like demon stories and things that he's seen because he's like involved with exorcisms and stuff like that, right?
Okay.
And he said, he goes, man, the demons and Satan are so dumb. Because all they do is that they just scared me into Christianity. And I thought, oh my God, you don't even know what you just said.
Wait a minute.
You don't even, like, we're talking about, are the demons and Satan like contractors for God? Is that what we're talking about?
Right. Well, we're talking about the bad guy, man. God can't just be perfect and not vulnerable at all. There has to be a nemesis. There has to be the antithesis of that.
Yeah.
You know, so he created it. Dang.
Did he? And that's the thing, is that, you know, are you going to be looking at the story as literal? Then sure, I guess if you're literally looking at it that way, then yes, God literally created Satan to scare the shit out of you and condemn you and put you in hell so that you would learn the lesson to obey all of his laws. And nobody wants to accept that.
Right.
Nobody wants to think about that part. Because if God is so almighty and so powerful, why wouldn't he just like, I don't know, fucking delete Satan from the code? It seems so simple.
It would be, but like you said, you know, there's polarity. That's just one of those natural laws of this existence, dude, and there's no getting around it.
Right. And so, yeah, just want to throw that out there. I thought it was interesting because it's like, it sounds so silly to say that the God that you believe in is so mighty and so powerful, yet he lets Satan do whatever he's going to do. I'm like,
well,
why would he do
it's
that?
up to you, man. It's up to you to open up to, you know, to that, and, you know, not do tarot.
Oh, exactly.
If you do that, then you're fine, you know.
Well, and isn't it funny that Jacob, as a 5-year-old, saw a demon, right? Me, playing with tarot cards damn near every day, never seen one.
Not yet. Not yet. We don't know. All right. We don't have the answers.
Well, I don't believe in it.
Right. There you go. In your matrix, you won't.
Or I'll say it like this: I choose not to believe it.
Right.
Because
and if you have sleep paralysis, you can choose to call that a demon, or you can choose to call it your subconscious choking the shit out of you because you're not dealing with the shadow. You know, it's up to you, I guess.
It's the same thing. And a lot of people have a hard time getting their mind around this. But even whenever Dolores Cannon said, she goes, you make yourself sick. You do that.
You can make yourself better.
You can also heal yourself. That's right? And that's the polarity of the power of being you. Right?
That's it.
So it's all polarity. Every single thing is fucking polarity. That's why I wanted to do this episode, because it's like, oh my God, when you apply it to everything, it's that both sides have to exist. That's the world, that's the matrix, that's the universe we live in, to where it's literally a law that was embedded into the system. I'm not talking about like, you know, that it was, what is it called? It's not software. It's part of the hardware.
I was going to say simulation.
Yeah. So,
you know, you remind me of right now, from that movie Free Guy, where he goes in there and orders a coffee that he doesn't normally order, and everybody's like, what?
Yeah.
What are you doing? You know, even the cops like reaching for his gun and shit. Like, you're talking wild right now, dude.
Yeah. You normally get a black coffee. What's this latte shit?
Yeah. What's going on, dude? You know, the music stops. Like, what? The phone stops ringing. Like,
yeah. But it's funny because that was literally a video game.
Right.
And the people in it were not aware of it until something happened, right?
And their reality was bound by the rules that were written for that matrix.
Right.
So that's what they saw and believed.
Yes. And what's even more fascinating too is that these these and I don't know, some people would say that it's bound, like all of these hermetic principles are for the entire universe, and maybe it is, but I don't think that it's bound per dimension.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
no, I agree with that. There's definitely physics and things that just don't do the same thing that we know.
Right.
Know?
And you know what would be really fascinating is if we were able to find somebody who can channel or download or something like that, which we are getting. I'm going to announce it right now. We are getting Psychic Shannon on for what is usually called Wonder Wednesday. We're doing it on Monday this week, so Meta Monday for the live show. Psychic Shannon Torrance is coming back on the show. And anybody that was a part of that one, holy shit, was she on one that night?
Oh my God. That's the one thing that, there are a few things that in my experiences that I've had, call them mystical or just spiritual in nature, those moments that gets you out of your physical understanding of everything. That's definitely one of those experiences where I know for a fact there's some extra shit going on with that.
Oh yeah.
No, there's no way mathematically she could have coincidentally said that many different keywords and every single one of them was just like, oh, you know what I mean?
There's like statistically impossible.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
so that's definitely one of those moments where I know there's some extra shit.
There has to be. Dude, you want to hear a funny story? Just made me think about it. But what was it? Last night I was taking a shower, right? And I got my son this week. So he likes to he's only 2, so he likes to bring a lot of his toys into the tub whenever he's taking a little bath. And but he brought in this one toy. It's a fire truck. And he had already gotten it wet before, so I was like, all right, you can do it. And but it was like an electric, battery powered, right?
Yep.
And it's one of those toys where you hit one of the buttons and it says something.
The lights go off.
The lights go off. Yeah, it was, and it's just this simple little Little Tikes fire truck thing or whatever it is. And I didn't even touch it, but I think as I'm taking a shower last night, the shower head must have grazed it. Maybe the water sprouted out at it or something, because it just went off and it scared the ever living shit out of me, right? Because it said this, and tell me this isn't wild, bro. It said, it's your duty to help people, or something like that. That's all it said. That's all it said.
Right.
It's your duty to help people. And I was like, of all things that it could have said, you know what I'm saying? Maybe it has like 10 different things on it, but it said that one. And I was cool. Oh my God, that's cool.
And you can choose to believe that was an awesome message from the universe, and just so happened that you heard it and everything else, or you can choose to believe that it was a coincidence. You know what I mean? You can do either one of those and just go about your day after that.
And which one's more fun?
Right.
You know?
Exactly. Why wouldn't you take the more fun approach?
Yeah, I think that the Matrix, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, is always looking for a dance partner, is always looking for somebody to play with, somebody to communicate with. And dude, as soon as you start picking up on the cues that, are just so unmistakable, then they start happening more often, which is wild. By the way, I just noticed that my little hand on this picture is on my microphone.
Holding your shoulder. That's Angel Jonathan guiding you through this.
Yeah. So anyway, all right, let's get back to it. So now we're going to get to the Buddhist view beyond duality. Now, this is something that Buddha used to always talk about, that you want to essentially break the cycle of samsara, which is, life, death, reincarnation. Life, death, reincarnation. It's just you're constantly going in a continuous cycle forever. But and also it even talks about let's just say that you choose to live a good life and you decide to become enlightened. Even enlightenment is not transcendence, right? Okay. So even once you get up to enlightenment, and this is where where they have something kind of negative to say whenever people start getting those superpowers, right?
The cities, right?
The cities, right? And so the superhuman strength or levitation or telekinesis or whatever it is, where they say, yeah, that's cool, and you do get those along the way to enlightenment, but you don't want to get stuck on those, because when you do, it's going to prevent you from transcending, because all of those things are only for this physical material reality. I mean, you are limitless. As a soul, as a spirit, or whatever, and you're choosing to kind of only go halfway up the ladder, look at these cool things, and stay in here. And
that's the shadow aspect of becoming, or even almost already being enlightened. If you can still get stuck, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what I was wondering. I was like, what would be the shadow if you are just completely enlightened? You know what I mean? You totally dealt with your shadow self. You don't have any kind of negative intrusive thoughts. Let's say that's a thing that's even possible at that point. What's the shadow?
Well, the shadow,
I wonder.
well, and I don't know, I mean, I'm not there yet, but I could imagine that, and I mean,
I like how you say I'm not there yet.
I plan on getting there. But yeah, I think that, so let's say you do get all the way up to that point of enlightenment, you could probably, I could see how people could walk around a little smirky, a little smug, a little cocky. I'm enlightened, right? So give you an example would be maybe Sadhguru, right? I mean, I like him. I don't love him, but I do like him. Because
there's still that aspect of like, like in his mind, I think he feels as though he does have all the answers.
He's,
you know, I don't know if that's true. I mean, I've seen videos, you know, I don't know how he is in real life and, you know, hanging out with him, but yeah,
he seems to be
that
a little bit cocky. Right. And maybe that is the thing that is allowing him to be enlightened, because one of the ways that they determine if you're enlightened is whenever you start doing like a lot of this superhuman type shit. So like allegedly, and I believe it, but allegedly he sat in meditation for like 30 days in a row or something crazy. Maybe it was 60 days. It was like a super long period of time. Sat in meditation. I'm not saying that like, you know, he started out his day in meditation, then he had to go take a leak, and then he came back into meditation. But then, you know, then he started to get a little hungry, but then he came back into meditation. No, I'm talking about 30 days straight. No water, no food, no peeing, no pooping, no sex, no nothing, right? He sat there in meditation in his lotus position the entire time for 30 straight days. Okay? That is seen as an attribute, maybe one could say, of enlightenment, because he was able to essentially transcend the material reality for that period of time.
Yeah, just in the physical aspect of that would be super hard, you know, not drinking water, not eating, not going to the bathroom. Like that alone already looks impossible. But then you think about the mental aspect of it, to where things are maybe bothering you or trying to come into your awareness, like you have to eat something or drink something, but you're pushing yourself so hard that you don't even have that experience because you're not allowing it. You know,
well, and that's the thing. I mean, imagine how many times have we meditated and we're like, man, I could have stayed there all night. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you're listening to 432, or maybe you're listening to a long guided meditation or something like that. But where you are in your mind is the most beautiful, sacred, not only most beautiful, sacred place, it's the most beautiful, sacred feeling. It's the, like, it's all encompassing love and just the best vibes of the day, right? Like we've done that.
And imagine you stay in there long enough, I'm sure that evolves. I'm sure that good feeling that we have within a 15-minute meditation, I'm sure you go 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. Dude, imagine what that feels like. I'm sure that's probably pretty close to a DMT experience.
Well, and that's what I was going to say too, is because that's what they notice, is that whenever you go super deep into meditation, that's whenever some of the DMT is starting to be released. And that's what essentially what is bringing on the euphoria of being so calm and so meditated, and you feel so light and everything. So now imagine this. Whenever you've tripped before, do you even think about eating?
No.
It's the farthest thing from your mind. Do you even think about having sex?
No.
It's the farthest thing from your mind.
No.
Right?
I'm just experiencing. That's what I'm doing. I'm experiencing, and I'm enjoying I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like there's gnosis. Like I'm enjoying that aspect of it, where just the simplest things that I've just never thought of. And I'm like, oh, that's true.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, that's how that works. You know, like that is so fun. you
It's
know,
the
and then you
best.
come out of it and you're like, I don't remember any of that. And so that
I
just
know.
brings me back to the whole getting away from your physical body and getting in touch with the genius or the one, whatever that is. Whatever you want
Exactly.
to call it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't even give a shit what you call it. That's the thing.
Consciousness, you know, which
Sure.
I believe is the one thing that does traverse multiple dimensions. You know what I
Well,
mean? That's just like the fluid that all the dimensions are sitting in.
well,
You know?
and that's the one thing that can't be created or destroyed.
Right. Yep.
You know, it's everlasting. It's just
Mhm.
always is.
Mhm.
And that's why personally I come from the realm of thought, and maybe you feel the same way too. I don't buy even Lord Byron. He differs from me in this thought. I don't buy that this place was ever created. Like I
Like
don't
there was no beginning.
maybe
right?
you could say that it was created, but not in the literal sense. Maybe it was just maybe it just always was. That's what I believe. I think that there's no way that this place was created. I think it's actually way more mystical and way more magical and way more awesome if it's just always been here. Now, what do I don't necessarily mean that Earth has always been here. I don't necessarily mean that the universe has always been here. I'm not saying that because I think that this is just an aspect of what we're experiencing in this cycle.
3-dimension. Yeah.
Yes, yes. But I think that consciousness, the soul, the spirit, whatever, has just always been.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that it couldn't have always existed.
That's definitely, you know, one of the biggest things that I think about, or one of the things that I think about probably the most frequently is the beginning, you know, like, you could say the Big Bang or God created it, or, I mean, there's all these different, theories of where it came from. I was thinking just 2 days ago, actually, as far as, you know, I forget what it's called. I know Nick brings it up a lot where it's like the spiraling, and it's like what is that called? The something set.
Oh, the Mandelbrot set.
The Mandelbrot set.
Damn, I don't know where I pulled that from.
I don't know. You're connected to your genius, dude. So like, and then you zoom in, and there's just another spiral that looks like the bigger picture, and maybe it's just continuously spiraling out, you know. And so the Big Bang really was just another one of those spiraling outward.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just, and then it's layered with all of this bigger picture in reality, but we're just not privy to it.
100%. Yeah, I buy that all day.
Yeah. Right.
I think that's probably the closest. That's like the best explanation that I think you could have given in that moment. Actually.
You know, I've been thinking about it for like 6 months.
Like 6 months. I've been brewing on that one.
Just waiting for the perfect time, you know?
You dropped it. You dropped it at the perfect time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I fucking love you. So yeah, I think fuck. I think that is perfect though. I think that really like it has to have always existed. You know, we even talk about like how I just brought up about how energy can't be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I think about us. And whenever even like a lot of religious people, most religious, if not all religious people, will say that there was never a beginning to God, right?
Right.
The God has always existed. And if you think about it, the whole story about, you know, especially if you're a good Christian and you do the whole thing, you accept Christ as your savior, that whenever you die, you go back home to God. Is that not literally a part of the whole that is going back home? So if that part of the whole that is going back home, how could that not be God? How could you not be God?
Right. Exactly. You're part of it. Right. Exactly.
So anyway, all right, let's get back to the Buddhist view that talks about beyond duality. So Buddhism offers a profound observation. The matrix of opposites is samsara. Whether you cling to pleasure or push away pain, you're still trapped. Nirvana isn't another pole. It's beyond the poles entirely. It's what happens when you stop running from the shadow and stop clinging to the light. This is transcendence, seeing the whole field for what it is and stepping out of it.
That's fucking awesome.
Now, there are also traditions that speak of transcendence in one way or another. We've talked about a couple of them. Taoism we did a whole episode on that. That was a really fun episode too, by the way.
It was. Yeah, it was.
But Taoism, so you have the yin and the yang are not enemies, but two halves of the Tao. The Tao transcends them both. So that's one. Then you have the Vedanta, which I believe is another Hindu thing. I could be wrong. We haven't covered that one yet. But you have Vedanta, and it talks about the self, which they call the Atman. So the self is beyond all dualities, untouched by pleasure or pain, birth or death. So, and whenever they talk about the self, they're not talking about like your egoic self. They're just talking about whatever that is that lives forever, that is inside of you. That is what is beyond all dualities. Because you think about it, even whenever, for example, I gave you the past life regression, right? And whenever I gave you a past life regression, you were just out there floating in the universe. You saw all of the things that were going on. You saw death. You saw destruction. You saw people
tragedy.
being born. You saw all of it, right? And you weren't fazed by any of it.
Right.
That is transcendence. You're not fazed by literally nothing. And so much so that, and this is what Sadhguru always says. He goes, I don't feel love because my wife gives it to me. I allow her to allow myself to feel that love that she's giving me. Isn't that crazy? Right?
Yeah.
So what he's saying is that basically nobody can make him feel what he doesn't allow himself to feel. That's essentially another way of transcendence at that point.
That's great. Yeah, not allowing the outside world to impact your inner universe. You know?
Exactly. And so even whenever he allows himself to feel an emotion, sounds kind of backwards, whenever he allows himself to feel love, for example, or whenever he allows himself to feel laughter or, sorrow or empathy or sympathy, any emotion is only bringing him back into the cycle itself.
Right.
Something so simple like that. And it's not to say that like I guess it is kind of to say that like literally even your amusement traps you.
Right. Holy shit. Like the amusement that you're capable of creating a fragrance within your hand and doing that for people, and people are amazed, and you're getting like a little kick out of that. Yeah. So whenever you're up there and you're floating in the universe, you're seeing all this other shit go on. You probably had the ability or the power to allow yourself to feel something, right?
But you didn't,
right? Like if I chose to, I could have definitely fed into some type of feeling of sorrow for people dying on Earth because there was some type of whatever going on down there and people were running away, and I probably could have just allowed myself to feel that. But no,
I almost wonder if we could have played with that though, like just
probably
for
knowing
for
what
science.
we know now,
right?
Yeah.
If we could have played with that, like let's say you did allow yourself to feel emotion,
can you feel it?
Not only can you feel it, but does it automatically send you back into the cycle of samsara?
Oh right. Oh shit, dude. See, if we would have known though,
Oh yeah. Hey, we've been talking about hypnotizing you here soon. So
I know.
We've been saying that for like 6 months at least.
I know. I don't know why I'm so nervous. Because
it's so much fun.
That's only a place that only I can go. And it's just unknown. I think that's what it is. Kind of like right before you take a Forico. It's some reason there's still that unknown factor, even though I'm pretty sure it's going to be a good experience. You know what I mean? Especially if you're there. I think that's another reason why I haven't done it since you've been here, because then that's another layer of unknown for me. You know what I mean? And so,
I mean, I can't really say anything either. John McCluskey asked, or he said, "Hey, I'll give you a free past life regression. It'll be fun."
Yeah.
And there's something that's holding me back too. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't see.
Like
so
it's
I'm
fun.
Not
I'm not scared by any means. It's not something that's scary. It's just that, man, there's stuff that you like face in there that, if you're not ready, that it could bring on a whole list of emotions and thoughts and feelings. And the thing about past life regression, especially, is that those things never leave you, bro.
Right.
Like,
oh yeah,
I remember not only the story and, the process, I remember the feeling of being that individual. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I
you
remember
experienced it. You lived it. Technically, you had the experience of being that person.
I mean, if that's and that's where I don't even care if it's real or not, because I experienced it in that moment under hypnosis. So what's real and what's not is almost fugazi at that point. Who cares?
Right. Exactly. And this is why, and this is just another example of why I believe it's just consciousness. You're shifting. You might not have necessarily been that person that had the pirate ship and the whatever. It's consciousness that has experienced that or observed that. And so now you're able to tap into that. Just like I was talking about my wife shifting her her consciousness from where she was under the ocean to the people on top of the boat. And it was just seamless, it was just like, boop, something she knew she could do, didn't have to think twice. Like, oh, that's weird that happened in the dream. It's just what happened. And everything's normal about this. And so same with the past life regression. It's just you observing what consciousness already knows.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that's it. And that's the beautiful thing is that if everything is all one, then there is no, I had this past life regression and you had that past life regression.
Right.
Because it's all an entirely shared experience if everything is one.
Right. And that's why everything that's ever happened or will happen it's already happened. That in that regard, everything has already been experienced. And that's why the quote unquote, Akashic records is a thing. You're tapping into consciousness that already knows that, been there, done that.
Well, and
I don't know. What do I know?
Well, and the crazy thing about that is that yes, it's already happened, but yes, it's also right now happening, and yes, it's going to happen.
It's already tomorrow happening.
10 years from now, and it seems so crazy because, and that's the thing, like. You can't look at none of this shit with your logical left brain. It is your logical left brain is a processing system. It has very limited capabilities. Right. Like they say that your phone has more capabilities of being able to guide you to the moon than even their spacecraft that they had back in the 60s whenever they allegedly went to the moon.
Yeah, dude.
Right?
Yeah, yep. Mm-hmm.
Like it's all in you.
Dude, the cars had carburetors and shit back in those days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you ever shut a door of a 60s model car? It sounds clunky. You know what I mean?
I feel like you're breaking
unless they were built really well. And even then they were still kind of like, you know what I mean? Kind of hardcore. And they had carburetors. And so, but yet I don't know. I don't know what I believe on that still. I haven't really pondered it as much as I should. But
I mean, it's all.
In the end, does it matter? At this point anyway, in 2025.
Technically, even matter doesn't matter.
Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah, it's all mind.
It's mind over matter
anyway. That's it. Yeah.
So nothing matters. That's the beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some things matter, I guess.
So, I mean, the things that
what you allow to matter.
Yes.
I guess.
Yes. What you accept matters.
Right.
Yep.
So
then, all right, so getting into another tradition that speaks on transcendence, obviously, is Hermeticism. It's literally what we're talking about, which is polarity. They consider a lower law, but through mental transmutation, the higher self can rise above it.
What does that mean? What do you think that means, a lower law? Like, in what are they referencing there, you think? Like a lower dimensional law or less prioritized?
I think that I feel like I know what it means. Let me gather my thoughts here. So I think, all right, if you're looking at it, the polarity is a lower law. Okay, that makes sense. It's a law of this universe, essentially. Kind of what I was
the three-dimensional
maybe that's
universe.
what I was talking about earlier, is that, maybe the Hermetic principles are different per dimension. Or right. Something along those lines. If you believe that whenever we die, we shift into other dimensions, or that heaven is in the 7th dimension, or whatever you think it is, that maybe that dimension, these Hermetic principles don't apply there.
Right. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Like it would definitely apply more to a 3-dimensional reality as opposed to a 5th one.
I mean, do the Hermetic principles apply to whatever you experience in a psychedelic trip?
Right. Exactly.
I don't think so.
Right.
I don't fucking think so. So
try looking at a 5th dimensional shape and tell me if there's polarity to that. Probably not. You know,
Good luck. Yeah.
right. Good luck even looking at that.
Yeah. You're gonna just get cross-eyed looking at it at that point. And what is it called? The cube. The one that I'm thinking of.
The Tesseract, right?
The Tesseract. Yeah.
I just saw something about that today, so it's funny how that just comes up casually.
Yeah, dude. So yeah, I think that it's a lower law, meaning probably a law of this third dimension, a law of physical reality. Maybe even you could say that the mind is that as well, though, too. Because you're not even the mind, right? Your mind is essentially just running programs of everything that you've already come in contact with. And maybe that's just your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind, meaning like a sub-addendum under, lower, in a sense. And your higher self would rise above that through mental transmutation. So that's what it was saying. Right. I don't know. We could be on it with that.
I know. I like it. This is a fun conversation.
Makes you think a little bit.
I say so myself. Yeah. Sometimes I feel like we're cracking codes, and then at the same time, in the back of my mind, I'm like, this is probably all wrong, but it's fun, you know?
You know what, dude? And it's funny because just yesterday, me and I'm not going to lie. So ever since I started the Cult of Conspiracy, I don't watch or listen any other conspiracy channels because I don't want to just take on their mind or their talking points. I want to be able to be a free thinker and
be in your own flow state.
And sometimes you don't know if a thought is yours or if it's somebody else's, right? And so I think, and so there are times where I'm like, dude, I don't know. Am I sounding crazy right now? You know, like sometimes
you don't even know if that's kind of the going thought on that particular thing.
Right. Sometimes you got to check yourself before you wreck yourself, so to say, right?
That's right.
And what was funny is that Jacob, he pulled up a clip from the Andrew Schultz show. I can't remember what it's called. But he pulled up a clip, and Andrew Schultz was literally saying the same exact thing that I had just got done saying. And I was like, oh my God, I guess I'm not crazy. I think I'm on something right now. It almost made me feel pretty good, you know?
Right. Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot of people out here, especially within this spiritual community, that are free thinkers, that are open-minded, that don't care if they're right or wrong. We're not necessarily, magnetized to one thing or another. We all believe that there's probably some level of divine truth, but a lot of the aspects of it, certain names or certain practices or whatever, are going to be things that maybe people disagree with or whatever. But I do believe, and this is where it's different. The conspiracy show, differing from Meta Mysteries is because I think that a lot of the stuff that we talk about and a lot of stuff that we like uncover and stuff like that, I believe there's a Gnostic sense to it. Like, and maybe that's just, I don't know, maybe that's my inner genius or my inner daemon or maybe, I don't know, maybe it's my fucking egoic self that's thinking that or whatever. But I personally believe that whenever we talk about certain things, maybe you can't even back it up with any kind of documentation or whatever, but there's a certain knowing that whenever you say something and it resonates, and that to me it confirms it in my mind, at least, that at least we're on the right path.
Absolutely. I mean, there's people that I think there's people that aren't even in the same data stream as you know what I mean, that are having experiences that don't quite that aren't quite equal to their belief system, and those things in particular are the things that probably everybody experiences. You know what I mean? But they just have their own little twist or what they want to do with it, or choose to accept, or choose to just call it a dream, or there's just so many different ways to go about it.
Well, and some people almost act as if they're gatekeepers to certain information, in a sense of like, all right, so I had the whole experience with Elohim whenever I took a super high dosage of mushrooms, right? And then you tell that to a Christian person, we're not going to call him out, but you tell that to a Christian person and he'll say, well, since you're not a Christian, it was probably a demon. And I'm like, there are certain people like that they almost feel obligated to be the gatekeeper, to relay certain information back to you because it couldn't have possibly been the Elohim talking to you. There's no why you're not initiated.
You haven't opened your heart to the Lord and Savior, dude. So
Right.
of course it's something trying to trick you. And I think that's what's interesting about the different religions is it seems like they've got this fail safe like built in or designed. You ask somebody a question, it's like they already have the answer. And that answer gets you to even question how you're thinking because well, if you open up your heart to Jesus, then he'll show himself. And I because I know what I know, dude, I believe that will happen. If you close your eyes, go into a theta state of mind and ask for Jesus to show his face, I believe you will see it. You know what I'm saying? And so, but then I ask the question, what if I just open myself to the truth? Let's just open myself to what is this divine thing that we all kind of experience from time to time, and it's not Jesus. Well, then you're being tricked. And God or the devil knows that you're susceptible to being tricked, or you know what I mean? There's always these little answers, these little smart little things that just gets you to like kind of question your own self.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like
the thing is that people don't understand not people in general. There are a lot of people that really just don't understand how amazing and powerful and deceptive and awesome and terrible the mind is. So like, dude, and it's so fascinating because you think about what your mind is capable of doing, right? Like it literally, you experience everything through your mind, right? Like there's not an experience that you don't experience in your mind.
No doubting that, right?
And so I think that, damn it, I had a place where I was going. It's going to come back. Come on. Oh, there it is. Okay. So
Where was it though?
It was just out there somewhere. I don't know.
It was just hiding behind the corner somewhere, some crevice. Anyway.
But the power of suggestion does not get enough credit. It does not get nearly enough credit because just like how you were saying that in your mind, if you go in there and you're trying to picture Jesus, you'll see it. Well, if I suggest to you, and this is so simple, we do it all the time, even whenever in hypnosis, it's like picture the wind blowing in the trees and the leaves blowing and all that whole thing, right? Like I'm going to say a word and I dare you not to think of it.
Right.
Pink elephant.
Yeah, I saw one. You know what I mean? Like I know exactly what you're talking about.
Your mind projects it via suggestion. And so, and that's just a tiny little reference point. But whenever you are looking through things through a very specific lens, that's what you're going to see. Now, and some people will take that as, well, that's the truth. I saw it. I experienced it. And it's like, yes, it is the truth, but it's a truth. It's not, nobody's calling you a liar. Nobody's saying that you're full of shit. I mean, some people probably think that, but there are many truths to ourselves. And sometimes they shock you right up out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting to hear no fucking Elohim.
Yeah. And I think that's why it's so important to at least at the very, you might not have the right answer. Let's just say objectively, the truest, this is the absolute reality. And then everything else is just kind of the mind doing what it does. Fuck, dude, I forgot where I was taking that. What's going on right now?
What are we on, dude?
I don't know. I'm having a great time with this conversation.
Same. You know what? Yeah. Let's get back to it then, and maybe if it comes back to you, you can slam it back on the table.
All right.
But there are some quotes, just a few quotes that I wanted to kind of give a little bit of credit to in congruence with transcendence.
Okay.
So you have some quotes from the mystics. Now, not everybody would call these people mystics, but I think we would both share the same opinion that all of these people would be mystics. Jesus, for example, whenever he said, "The kingdom of God is within you." So it says the ultimate transcendence isn't out there; it's within, right? And that because. And this is when we were talking earlier about how what was it? Let me find it. About how polarity is a lower law and that through mental transmutation, the higher self can rise above it. The higher self does not exist out there. That is only in here. Right. So what he was talking about is essentially, ultimately, transcendence, that it has to be within you because it's not, you're not going to find it out there. So the kingdom of God is within you, literally.
Yes, dude. And I actually remembered, I was pretty sure that I was not going to remember that. And it wasn't too much longer. For some reason, my brain just said, no, not right now. Give me a second. But basically, I think this is why it's so important to, if it's not even the right answer, just fully try to engage and figure out, what do you believe? I think once you have that that framework and say, okay, accept it. And that's going to be it. No changing it, or maybe it can evolve. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But don't let it evolve negatively. You know what I'm saying?
You want the
if you're
roots.
gonna let it, yeah. If you're gonna let it evolve in the best way possible. But at least have that framework. That way you don't like drive yourself nuts when someone says something that kind of makes you fearful, and then you're like, oh wait, is that possible? But like, no, within my matrix, within my belief system, that doesn't exist. You know what I'm saying? And so that way you can kind of keep yourself,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? From
Or
losing your
at
mind.
least try and put it into a frame of reference where it does make sense according to your core beliefs.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So it's
I
like,
think that's the one thing I've been struggling with, because we go into so many things that really do resonate, and I'm trying to just put this big fucking jigsaw puzzle together, and it's a lot, dude.
Oh, dude.
And within those puzzle pieces, there's understandings of what people believe in the Bible, and I'm trying to, because there are things in there that are they're good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there are pieces of that are good for sure. But so I'm trying to just put this 3D puzzle together, dude, in the dark. Sometimes that's what it feels like.
Yeah,
Because-
well, sometimes you just got to throw a little neon on those bad boys.
Right, shed
and
some light on
help
the
'em-
situation.
Help them glow in the dark.
Yeah, dude.
So yeah, the kingdom of God is within you, as Jesus once said. Then you go to your boy Alan Watts, who said, you are under no obligation to be the same person that you were 5 minutes ago.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Like a simple thought like that, it's just it's empowering, dude. Because I think we get locked into who we think we're supposed to be. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Or maybe even we think we should be the person that other people are used to us being. It's like, oh, it's up to me. I can just kind of shift my mindset and run.
Well, and it throws a lot of people off too, because you could be, I don't know, let's say you meet somebody for the first time and you're hanging out and maybe you become friends, you start to hang out a little bit more and they feel like they got a good sense of who you are. And so whenever you decide to act out of the frame of reference that they have of you,
right
now they don't know you anymore. And but
now
it's-
you're fearful of like ruining something, or
yeah.
maybe they don't want to be your friend.
Right. Well, because I wouldn't be a friend. I wouldn't want to be friends with somebody who thinks that way, kind of thing. And and that's the thing, is that you're just distancing yourself from yourself, really. So yeah, you're under no obligation to be the same person that you were 5 minutes ago.
I love that.
That's a good one. Then you got your boy Terrence McKenna, who said, the real tension is not between matter and spirit, but between your ego and your liberation. Oh, that's a good one.
Your ego and your liberation.
Yeah, because you ultimately...
I understand the ego. I understand the ego gets in the way all the time.
Sure.
What does he mean by the liberation?
Transcendence would ultimately be the ultimate liberation.
Oh, right. Okay.
Right? Because your ego is putting you back into the game. Your liberation, you're liberating yourself from the material world and from, all the aspects that embody it.
Okay. I thought he was putting those two together as like negative things.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing, is that none of it's really negative. And, because, and this is the thing, like duality, it just is. It's not that, it's like what we were talking about earlier, as far as the forest and the trees and the seasons and daylight versus darkness and summer versus winter. You wouldn't say that, daylight is good and darkness, the moon is bad. It's just the way that it is, and you can apply whatever meaning you want to apply to it. It's just going to keep on doing what it's doing, because that's naturally what it's meant to do. And so even under this, it's like, there is no, and I know that this is going to seem counterintuitive. There is no such thing as good and evil. You might look at something and say that is evil, fully embodied, right? You might look at something else, be like, oh my God, that is pure light, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's up to the interpreter, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because back in the
they're
day,
both on the same spectrum anyway.
oh, dude, and this is back in the day that Jacob always talks about this, that back in the day, you would have the Trojans, right? They would go around and their job was literally to rape and pillage. Like, that's all their job was. They were just going over there to make everybody succumb to their sword or whatever, right?
Yep.
And so back in the day, it was seen as a very pious thing to go into a village and literally rape as many women as you possibly could. That was a good thing. You did the right thing, okay? Nowadays, you look at that and you're like, oh my God, it's terribly evil. So how you can get out of that idea of good and evil, I mean, rewind 500 years. Fast forward 500 years. The rules change.
Yep. Exactly, dude. You got to look at it in the time that we're in now. And I want to make mention, you bring up Jacob, and this is not picking on Jacob at all. Jacob's a great guy and he's super intelligent. It's because Jacob challenges you. And that's why and it's great. It's awesome because it really gets you to think, and so I just want to say that this is not taking jabs at Jacob.
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, like I like, maybe he's my Satan in a way.
Maybe he's your Jonathan.
But exactly. And it's not to say that he's evil and he's dark. He's just the opposition sometimes.
Right. Exactly. Right? He's what you need to keep forming your own matrix. You know what I mean? And he challenges that.
And if you didn't have that, as it said earlier, you would stagnate.
Right. Exactly. Perfect.
So you need that. So yeah, Terrence McKenna saying his quote. Then we got to bring up your boy Carl Jung said, "No tree can grow to heaven unless its roots. Let me just say that all over again. Carl Jung said, "No tree can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell."
Right. That makes perfect sense, actually.
It do. Because it's duality. He was literally talking about duality
and down.
The polar stick, right? Yeah, the North Pole and the South Pole. It's the same, essentially.
And the South Pole isn't evil.
No. Then you got Rumi. We always talk about the Sufi mystic himself. He said, "Beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there."
I love it, man.
He was always on some shit. All of his quotes are so good. And then you got your boy Hermes Trismegistus that said, as above, so below, but beyond both lies the one.
There it is. That's great. Where it all emanates from.
Yes.
Love it.
So, all right.
And which is probably why we choose, if this is even a thing, this is why we choose to incarnate. Because you go into that oneness where there is no duality and you start to feel like you need that. You know what I mean? You need that duality. So you come back. Right?
Yes. All right. So remember how I told you in the beginning of the episode and even before the episode that whenever I was, writing this and getting all this information together, I almost got a little bit emotional.
Yep.
At that times now, because I came to the realization of why Jesus and all of these like ascended masters all speak in parable. And it makes so much sense because you're not telling people what to think or how to think. You're just giving them a story and it's up to the interpreter. You do with it as you will.
Yep. That's perfect, dude. It's all interpretation, dude. That's all it is. And a lot of these things are just different interpretations of the same truth. We know that.
Yes. So I'm about to give you a story.
Okay. I'm ready.
There once was a seeker who felt lost in the world. They had questions that no one could answer about purpose, about life, about what happens after death. One day, they stumbled upon a religion that promised answers. It spoke of light, of salvation, of a God who loved them unconditionally. The seeker was captivated. This must be the truth, they thought. They gave themselves fully to this path, and for a time, they were radiant. The world felt brighter. They had hope. They had meaning. But one day, the seeker had a terrible day. They felt despair, and suddenly the darkness showed up. It took the form of fear, of guilt, and of a shadow that they couldn't escape. This must be the devil, they thought. This must be the enemy of my God. So they prayed harder. They begged for the light to return, and eventually the light did come back, and they felt whole again until the next bad day. Once again, the shadow came, another projection, another demon, more prayers, more begging. This cycle repeated, light, darkness, light, darkness. Each time the seeker thought that they had overcome the darkness, it returned in a new form. Finally, after years of this battle, something inside the seeker broke. They whispered, "Why does this keep on happening to me? Why can't I escape this demon? Why can't I escape this shadow?" And in that moment of surrender, a realization came. Their religion was inside a dualistic matrix. It wasn't wrong or false. It had given them hope, purpose, and tools. But it was also keeping them trapped in an endless game of light versus dark. So the seeker did something radical. They stopped running from the shadow. They turned and faced it. And instead of trying to destroy it, they shined light on it. They saw it for what it was, a part of themselves. And by embracing it, they became whole. But the seeker wasn't done. They prayed, they meditated. How do I transcend this entire game? How do I go beyond light and dark? Suddenly, a staircase appeared before them, ascending into the heavens. With trembling steps, they climbed higher and higher. Surely at the top, they would meet God. But when they reached the summit, there was no throne, no bearded deity, no choir of angels, only a divine floating mirror. Confused, the seeker stepped closer. They looked into the mirror, and in that instance, everything made sense. They were the God that they had been searching for. It wasn't blasphemy. It wasn't arrogance. It was truth. The answers had been inside them all along. The religion wasn't the destination. It was the map. The shadow wasn't the enemy. It was the teacher. And in that moment, they transcended the matrix. They felt whole. And for the first time ever, they were free.
Dude, that gave me chills, dude. It's so true, man. It's, if you look at it this way, man, we talk about, what you choose to accept or what you allow to throw you off your path or cause fear, right? And so in that sense, you are the architect of your own mind. If something bothers you or something, maybe you're susceptible to something or whatever it is, something causes you fear, right? And then you can transmute that or figure out how you're going to deal with that shadow aspect of your reality and remove it or make it something that you can transmute and shine the light on. And so in that sense, you are the architect of the reality that you experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's the beautiful thing about it. And honestly, like the reason that I even started to feel kind of emotional about it is because I felt like it perfectly reflected even my own personal path. Mm-hmm. I for the longest time, I'm not going to lie, I was a fucking NPC to the core. I was going along to get along. I was trying to be cool to try to be cool to others so that they would like me. I would say things because I was trying to please others, not even just because it pleased myself. Until eventually I was like, you know what? There's got to be so much more than this. There's no way that this life is that's all there is. Right? Like there has to be more to it. And so that's whenever I went down my own spiritual journey and I started going to church and I found out, holy absolute shit, does this work? And in my own mind, I thought, well, if this works and people say it's the only thing that works, then I'm going to test that. And that's where we are today, still testing it.
That's great. That's a perfect explanation of this whole journey, man. For a lot of people, I think, whatever path you take, there's going to be the shadow aspect of that because polarity is just polarity.
Absolutely. Yeah, dude.
Unless you transcend this 3-dimensional reality, it's going to be here. For all we know, it does exist all the way up. Who knows? But we're here now, so this is what we got, and this is what we understand at this moment.
That's it, dude. And so I actually have a couple of other stories that I wanted to compare to this parable.
Okay.
And this, we're going to go Gnostic at first, and then we're going to go biblical second. And I think after that, we're also going to be bringing up the Anunnaki. Okay.
Okay. All right.
So the demiurge and the serpent, two poles of the spiritual matrix. To really understand polarity in religion, we need to talk about two of its most provocative archetypes, the demiurge and the serpent. In Gnostic Christianity, the demiurge is the lower god, the creator of the material world. He's often identified with the Old Testament God, jealous, vengeful, obsessed with law and order. To the Gnostics, this demiurge isn't the true source. He's a false god, a cosmic jailer who keeps souls trapped in matter. He represents one extreme of polarity: control, law, and rigid hierarchy. On the other side, we have the serpent from the Garden of Eden, but not as Christianity paints him. In Gnostic and esoteric traditions, such as the Nag Hammadi, the serpent isn't simply Satan. He's the liberator, the bringer of gnosis, or knowledge. By offering Eve the fruit, he reveals the truth, that humanity can awaken to its own divinity. He represents the opposite pole: chaos, rebellion, and freedom. See the pattern? The demiurge binds you to the matrix. The serpent shows you the cracks in its walls. But here's the trap. Even this game, law versus rebellion, order versus chaos, is still polarity. It's still part of the matrix. Gnosticism teaches that real transcendence isn't siding with the demiurge or the serpent. It's realizing that both are pieces of a bigger illusion. The true source, the pleroma, as they called it, exists beyond the game. And this is where it gets personal. In your life, you may feel torn between obeying the quote-unquote rules of your belief system or rebelling against them. But both are just poles of the same stick. The work isn't choosing a side, it's transcending the stick entirely. So this locks perfectly with the parable that we just talked about. The seeker starts by serving the demiurge of order, light, and salvation, then meets the shadow serpent of chaos, temptation, and knowledge, and finally transcends both by climbing the staircase and realizing their own divinity.
That's great. I love it.
Now we're going to get over to the Bible with Christianity specifically. Okay. So Christianity, God, the devil, and Jesus as the crack in the illusion. Within Christianity, God and the devil perfectly embody the poles of the religious matrix. God, in traditional Christian framing, represents order, authority, and law. He is the source of salvation, but also the wielder of judgment. This is the pole of light, but it's also the pole of control. A cosmic father who sets the rules and punishes disobedience. The devil represents the opposite pole: rebellion, chaos, and temptation. He is cast as the adversary, the deceiver, the enemy of God. But symbolically, he's also the one who exposes the cracks in the system, the one who challenges blind obedience. These two poles create the Christian matrix. A believer is caught between submission to God and resistance to the devil, constantly pulled back and forth between obedience and temptation. But then there's Jesus. What if Jesus wasn't simply an intermediary between us and God, but the crack in the illusion itself? Look at his teachings. The kingdom of God is within you. Luke chapter 17, verse 21. This flips the script entirely. It's no longer about chasing God out there. It's about discovering the divine within. Or how about whenever he said, "Ye are gods," or "You are gods"? John chapter 10, verse 34. Which was a shocking statement that aligns more with mystical gnosis than rigid dogma. His rejection of the legalistic Pharisees and his willingness to break religious rules for the sake of compassion. These are not actions of someone maintaining the matrix. These are actions of someone exposing it. So in this light, Jesus may be the serpent of Gnosticism reinterpreted, as not as the enemy of God, but as the liberator who offers the fruit of true knowledge, that we are divine beings trapped in a game of polarity, and that salvation isn't about escaping to heaven, but transcending the illusion altogether. This reframes the crucifixion and the resurrection too. Instead of a transaction to appease a wrathful God, it becomes a symbol of transcendence, descending fully into suffering and shadow, which would be death, integrating it and rising beyond it with the resurrection. If God and the devil are the two poles of the Christian matrix, then Jesus is the latter out. He shows that the true kingdom, the one beyond all games of good and evil, has been inside us all along. This also ties perfectly into the parable that we talked about earlier as well. The seeker, like a Christian, starts serving God, is tormented by the devil, and finally realizes the truth that Jesus hinted at. The kingdom of God is within you.
Dude, that is the coolest thing that I've heard as far as Jesus being the crack, allowing you to see beyond the illusion or Maya. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, if you think about it, it's the same thing with the Matrix. You know, he was the one that was going to liberate all of the people that were stuck in the Matrix. You know, he was the crack. You know, that the
Yeah,
system just did not like, because he was capable and he knew.
exactly. Yeah. Isn't
But
that
it was
crazy
only,
how it works?
but only when he actually knew that he was the one, though. That's how that works. You know what I
Right.
mean? So it just goes deeper, dude. Like,
Oh, it's the Mandelbrot set.
great, dude.
It's the
I'm gonna go ahead and say it, dude. I mean, I know we've said this a couple times over the year and a half, but this is one of my favorite episodes we've ever done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hell
it
yeah.
really is.
I love
It's
this
fun.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is I feel like, do you feel like either your mind has been twisted into a pretzel, or that your mind already was a pretzel and it's being twisted out?
That one. Yeah, I feel like it's like, oh, it's taking the pressure off. You know, it's like, oh, okay, it's more malleable. And I know that
Yes.
we've kind of already had that understanding, but this just kind of locks it in even more for me. For me, anyway.
Well, let's lock
You
it
know.
in even more with the Anunnaki, sir.
All right, I'm curious to see where this goes.
Enlil and Enki as cosmic polarity. So long before Christianity, the Sumerians told a story about the Anunnaki, godlike beings who came from the heavens to shape humanity. Among them were two brothers that stood out, Enlil and Enki. Enlil is the strict authoritarian god. He enforces laws, demands obedience, and sees humans as disposable tools for God's work. He is the pole of order and control, the archetype of the jealous, vengeful deity. Enki, on the other hand, is the trickster, the rebel, the one who gives humanity forbidden knowledge. He warns humans of the flood, teaches them wisdom, and undermines Enlil's authority at every turn. He is the pole of chaos, liberation, and gnosis. Sound familiar? It's the same story we see in Eden again. Enlil is the demiurge or Yahweh, the god who forbids the fruit. Enki is the serpent, the one who offers knowledge and opens humanity's eyes. This myth reframes the human condition. We are caught between two forces, the one that wants to bind us and the one that wants to awaken us. But just like in Christianity, here's the twist. Both are still part of the fucking Matrix. Whether you obey Enlil or follow Enki, you're still playing within their game. The true transcendence comes from stepping out of the Anunnaki drama entirely, reclaiming your own sovereignty as a divine being. So,
Dude.
now it even that one feeds off of the parable of going up and seeing the divine mirror. So as the seeker battles the light and shadow of their religion, they begin to see that these forces are not just God and the devil, but as ancient archetypes. Enlil and Enki are still playing out their old game through new names. At first, they chose the light, Enlil and God. Then they are tempted by the shadow, Enki and the serpent. And finally, they realize neither of these fucking poles are the truth.
You know, it's funny, dude. Yeah, because I tend to think like, you know, this story's been told over and over, just in different interpretations, different characters, different happenings, but overall the same overarching story, right? And it gets me to think like, oh, it must be the greatest story ever told, but in reality, dude, it's our story. It's the story of existing, at the very least, you know, in the third dimension.
It's like saying that that tapioca pudding is the light. It is the best pudding anybody's ever tried in their entire lives. And then you got somebody saying, I don't know about that. I'm a pretty big fan of butterscotch, actually. And I'll be damned if you think that tapioca is the pudding that puts everything above everything else. Right? And eventually there's that third person that's just like, it's fucking pudding.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's all it is. It's just pudding.
Right. Exactly.
So it's kind of the same way in that. So anyhow, let me close it out by saying this. When they climb the staircase and meet the mirror, they understand the real God that they've been seeking isn't Enlil or Enki. It's not God or the devil. It's not light or the shadow. It's the divine spark that's been inside of you all along. It's you. So do you want to keep playing the game, or are you through with it and want to transcend it all? Easier said than done, yes. But just remind yourself, keep the awareness of the law of polarity in the back of your mind at all times. It's not to be feared. It's not to be revered. It's to exist outside of all of it. That's where God is. That's where you are. This is beyond polarity. This is transcendence, not running from darkness, not clinging to light, but shining a light on all of it and then rising above the light itself.
That was great, man. It just reminds me of when I stared into the mirror, or into my phone really, with the candle. And then at one point my entire face kind of dissipated, but I could still see the glare of the candle within my eyes. And so really I disappeared and I only saw my eyes, And so it's like, that's what this reminds me of, looking into the mirror and realizing that the divine is you. You're the one.
Yeah, well, and people will say you're crazy because you're just disassociating, but that's not really what's going on. People dissociate all the time. Some people, react very differently. So, there are some people that whenever let's just say that you get into an argument. Everybody's gotten into an argument in their life. It's inevitable you're going to argue with someone or some concept or something or whatever, right? But whenever you do that, it's like, damn it, I totally lost my train of thought. What is going on tonight?
I don't know what's going on today. It's because we're on one, and then it's the polarity of this episode. You know what I mean? We're on one, everything's going good, and then it drops off. Man.
It does.
You lose your train of thought, and it's fine, dude.
I feel like I was on one just right there, but then it just it just fled me. Come back. That's all right. It's okay. I did want to actually say one more thing here, though. So whenever we how do you apply this like practically in your life? How do you integrate and transcend? So, number one, shadow work. Meet the darkness, journal it, meditate on it, and dialogue with the parts that you have denied. Oh, got it. It came back. Okay.
I'm happy.
Some people, whenever they argue, you're going to have some people that will just outlash at you, right? I mean, you're getting hellfire and brimstone and you're getting the kitchen sink thrown at you. Then there's other people who, whenever they argue, they just remain quiet. They just want to be quiet. They want to go off to themselves because they are almost to a point where they're almost scared of themselves in a sense, right?
Yep.
But the idea is that you want to just transcend all argument in the first place, because nobody wins in an argument. Even whenever you feel like you've made your point and you made the other person look like an idiot, what did you win? You know what I mean? And so the idea is that you can always just agree to disagree. There's nothing wrong with that. And if people want to keep poking and prodding and saying, I don't accept that, I don't agree. Right. I don't agree that you agree to disagree. Then it's just like, well, that seems like your problem because it's not mine. You know,
and to bring it back to what you were saying, like the point of disassociating in that moment is to save that moment from becoming a worse moment, and you get into a fight and you beat the shit out of somebody or something like that. Like you said, nobody wins when people are fighting. So you disassociate just enough to separate yourself from it, calm down, and come back to it when both of you guys are cool-headed or whatever. You know what I mean? So pull yourself up and out of that experience.
That's where I was trying to go with it. That's where I was trying to go with it, because you brought the disassociation part, because there are people that disassociate. They just want to remove themselves from a particular situation. And some people want to dive all the way in. And, you know, logically, you know, on the surface, some people think that the people that dive all the way into an argument, well, they're of level mind. You know, because whenever you decide to disassociate, you're seen as the crazy person. But isn't that crazy? Right? So anyway, you got the whole shadow work thing, which everybody should be doing. This is why we meditate. Then you have integration. So you want to stop demonizing your shadow, accept it, love it, and bring it into the light. And then transcendence. So once it's integrated, once you integrate the shadow into the light to where everything's just all lit up, there's nothing that is lurking in the shadows. There's no skeletons in the closet. You know, and you don't
conscious, you know,
and you don't necessarily even have to tell anybody that you're doing this. This is a you thing, right? You don't need to tell somebody that you're this or that you're that or you've done this or you've done that. It's up to you to face it and to not judge yourself for what you did or what you thought or whatever. Because you know, if you think about it, if we're all one, and they say that God is love, and not only just love, but unconditional love, then that means that you have the ability to give yourself unconditional love. And I mean,
and everybody around you.
I mean,
You know,
would you hate your, like, for example, I got a 2-year-old son.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he pissed so much earlier. He pissed right through his diaper, got pee all over the floor earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to hate him for the rest of his life for doing that?
No, they kind of do that.
They do that. Yeah, especially with cheap diapers. But, but you know, you got to learn to be able to give yourself that little bit of lenience. And so, and that was just a silly example or whatever. We've all done shitty things that we're not very proud of. That doesn't mean that we just try and keep them drowned the whole time. It's how can I look at this from another angle to where I don't have to keep it in the dark, to where I can accept it as part of the journey that brought me to where I'm at right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you have the option, you can choose what you allow to destroy you if you want. So, yeah, man, transcend that altogether if you can. I mean, easier said than done. It's another one of those things, but just take it one moment at a time. It's
possible. That's all we're trying to say. So once you integrate it, you go beyond. Through meditation, breath work, and contemplation, step outside the polarity entirely. Transcendence isn't escapism. It's seeing the whole game, integrating every piece, and then rising above it.
That's it, dude.
That's all we got.
Holy shit. What an awesome way to understand that. And I'm going to be honest, I feel like it's on one. Like I'm not even trying to pat you on the back right now. Like I honestly believe that was just a great way to throw all of that out there. And the whole transcending the stick altogether, you know what I mean? Like jump off the board game, because within the board game there's rules to this board game. You pass go, you get $200. If you land on this one, you go straight to jail. You get off of that board, now those rules don't apply. And the game board is your belief, what you accept.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, that's actually a really good way of looking at it. If you just look at all of reality as if it's a game board, that's it. And how silly is it to even come up with the concept that you could possibly ever be stuck inside of a Monopoly game your entire life, right? But most people are. Most people are stuck in that Monopoly game. They don't know that they can get out. They don't know that they can detach. They don't know that they can transcend it. But once you know that, and once you not only, it's one thing to know it, it's another thing to put it into practice, and another thing to keep up that practice, right? It's not something that you just, you got it and now you're good. No, you got to keep on doing it. It's a
journey.
You have to turn it into a habit or a ritual, if you will. And there are certain little things that, that you can do along the way once you understand how the game works. Now, that is ultimately feeding into the game of polarity, but I mean, look, I'm not trying to say that we're always going to just stay transcended, not have any emotion, not to succumb to normal things, because you're going to, I don't care who you are, you're going to shed a tear when your kid graduates. If you don't, then like, what are you doing? You know, it's
you're
just
a human being, man.
The idea is that you're just not allowing yourself to succumb into darkness, into anxiety, into depression, and know that you're so much more powerful than you ever thought, that you can literally change the past. Now, I'm not even saying like hypothetically or metaphorically. I'm saying literally you can change the entire past. And I'm not saying that literally, like, you can jump in a time machine and just go back there and, I don't know, kill Hitler as he was a baby or something like that. I'm not saying that. But you can literally change how you view the past. And
association with it.
And that in and of itself is changing the past. So whatever demons you got in your closet, whatever skeletons are hiding under your bed or whatever, all of those things can be brought into the light, and they're not going to scare you anymore because now you face them. Now you have a different way of looking at them. And once you have a different way of looking at them, is that not some sort of transcendence?
Oh, I believe that's exactly what you'll end up with. Yeah, dude. It's all about choosing your bad guy, I guess, right?
That's it.
What belief system do I want to believe in? Okay, that's the bad guy for that one. That's the bad guy for that one. All right, that's the shadow self. Okay, let me just merge the two together and figure out how to transcend the whole thing.
And you can you can play
know
with
your
it.
enemy.
And that's the thing, is that you can play with it. Like, so once you, let's say you decide to be a Christian, And if you know that every time you are embodying the emotion of fear, that maybe there's going to be a demon that shows up, well, just remind yourself in that moment that that's something that you can transcend. That's just something that you're projecting. It fits within the polarity of your religion, right? So at that point,
rules.
you can almost just look at it and be like, I already know what you are.
Right.
I already fucking know what you
I
are.
know
You're
where you came from.
I know where you came from. You came from literally the depths of hell with inside my subconscious.
Myself. Right. You came from me. Man.
That's it, dude.
Wow. That's powerful.
But
dude.
personally, I would much rather just deal with my own shadow.
Yeah.
That's just me, though.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely easier to associate that with being you instead of some outside source.
And dude, and that makes it so much easier because you don't see yourself as a demon. You don't see yourself as a jinn, but you know certain aspects of yourself. And even when they are showing up as whatever kind of shadow or whatever kind of shadow being or whatever, that you know it. And this is something that, like, I watched a video, and I think I've said this before, but there was this one video where this girl, she woke up into sleep paralysis, right? And she was like, oh my God, it was the scariest fucking thing that's ever happened in my life. I woke up and at the foot of my bed, there was this 10, 11, 12 foot tall shadow entity that was just giving off the absolute worst vibes that you could ever imagine. And its job was literally just to stand there and scare the fuck out of me. Right. Yep. And so it took her like forever to fall back asleep. She, kind of couldn't fall asleep for the next few days. And after thinking about it for a little while, she realized that it had certain characteristics that only she embodied. She knew that was her. And that is transcendence. That's what that is. So is just finding out that the shadow has always been you, just like the light has always been you.
Right. That's fucking interesting, dude. That's interesting. Now we just got to figure out what the DMT world is and what's going on with that, because that definitely doesn't feel like you, right? I don't know yet.
Maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe it is,
right? Yeah. Who knows?
But if it's all one, then it has to be you.
Right. Of course. Yeah.
I like that part of me, though, by the way. It's like one of my favorite parts.
So imaginative, and creative.
Oh, my God.
Intelligent.
I mean, and that's the thing, is that we don't necessarily have access to the infinite versions of ourselves in this reality. But once you kind of break through the fourth wall in that other dimension, whenever you're under the influence or you go super deep in meditation or whatever, it's like, holy shit, you have access to the most intelligent, like smartest version of you, because everything that has ever happened, you now have access to it as if, and probably literally, it was you, and it is you, and it will be you.
That's great.
All at the same time.
That's great, dude. You must have tapped into your genius right before this episode, I think.
I just woke up like this,
That's great.
Anyway, I hope that, the one out there got a little something out of this. Hopefully you can learn to understand that, the laws of polarity within the 7 Hermetic principles is something that it's a beautiful thing, because it's showing you the blueprint. The 7 Hermetic principles, as we were kind of talking about earlier, it literally has to be the blueprint, at least of this reality. And that's the one we're in right now. So you may as well just look at it,
right? Look at it.
Look at it.
It's funny because before we started recording, or earlier today, when you told me what we were going to talk about, I was really trying to figure out how much further we could dig into this whole idea, of polarity. How far can we get on that? I understand it's the polar opposites of a given thing, and man, this just blew me away. And like I said, I'm not trying to give you a pat on the back right now. Like I authentically feel that way.
Oh, thank you, dude. But you know what? I think it might be a pretty good idea to just go down the rest of the Hermetic principles now. See how else we can apply all of them.
Yes. Through this lens. Oh my God, dude. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun journey.
That's what we aim to do over here. We aim to literally send you into a hypnotic trance that makes you trip balls for over 2 hours. That's what our show is aimed to do right now.
Dude, I think my dreams are going to be amazing tonight. It's like, oh, I'm the architect. Okay.
Yeah.
You know?
You build all this shit, you know? That's what's beautiful about it. And I know you're about to pull a tarot card, but I did want to remind everybody out there, if you could leave us 5 stars, leave us a review, whether it's on the Cult of Conspiracy you're listening to this, or if it's on Meta Mysteries that you're listening to this. If you'd rather watch this on YouTube the day that it drops on the Cult of Conspiracy, you can go and check out youtube.com/Meta Mysteries and just go subscribe it over there. There are still commercials and everything, but you get to see the video, you get to comment under it and like it and subscribe and do all the things that you would do on Patreon. Hit the bell if you want to be notified the moment that it drops. But we also have TikTok and Instagram that we're, sometimes it's clips of the show. Sometimes we kind of go off the res and, come up with something that's off of the show. But the best way to be able to become fully immersed into this show is by going to patreon.com/Meta Mysteries. You'll be able to slide into our DMs over there on a daily basis. We check those daily. And you'll be able to be privy to getting the shows a few days in advance. You'll be able to watch the video completely commercial free on every single show. And it's the best way to be able to support us. And we also have a Wonder Wednesday tier, which gives you access to everything that we just mentioned, but you'll also be able to come and join us every Wednesday night, except for this upcoming week, which will be on a Monday. But you'll have access to all of that. So actually, if you're listening to this on the Cult of Conspiracy on the day that it drops, or if you're listening or watching this on YouTube on the day that it drops, our live show will be tonight. Okay.
Oh, yeah, right.
Technically, if you're
Funny
listening
how
to
time
it,
works. Right.
if you're listening to it on Sunday on Meta Mysteries, because on the Meta Mysteries podcast, the shows drop one day earlier, then it'll be tomorrow night. So yeah, plenty of different ways for you to be able to join. But like I said, if you want to be able to join for the live shows and come hang out with us and some of the other ones that are also out there, then go to patreon.com/Meta Mysteries. That link's down in the show notes, and sign up for the Wonder Wednesday tier. I believe it's only $8.88 a month if you want access to literally everything to become fully immersed into the Meta Mysteries. But if you just want access to everything else and not the live shows, dude, it's $3.33 a month. I don't even think we can go cheaper than that. I think that's literally like the cheapest that we could go on Patreon.
I don't even think you can get an energy drink for that much anymore. It's like almost $4 now.
Unless you get one of those like 2 for $4.50 deals or something like that.
Right. And even then it's,
Right. So, come support us in any way that you possibly can. No matter what you do, we appreciate you guys supporting us, and we love you very much for doing so. Sean, I'm very interested to see what this tarot card is.
It's funny because I might actually have you start pulling cards every once in a while, because I don't know if it's because I just tend to get this card or if it's because of how I'm feeling after the episode, but it makes sense to me. But we pull it quite a bit, and it's the 10 of Cups.
Let's go. Such a beautiful card.
As soon as it popped out, dude, and I looked at it, and I was like, that makes a lot of sense, because think just the imagery, dude. These people are just happy, and everything's peaceful, and the way that they want it to be, and when you transcend or you get that ability to understand your enemy because of the belief system that you have chosen or accepted. Yep. Now you rise above that, and now you're just like the dude on the card, just like, oh,
I'm free. You know what I mean? You're Truman on your boat hitting the wall.
Right.
That's what you are.
He's like, take a bow.
That's it. In case you don't see me, good evening, good afternoon, and good night.
Beautiful.
No, but it's actually funny because on the most previous show, the card that we drew was literally the 9 of Cups.
Oh, that's right.
And so now we get the 10 of Cups in the very next episode.
Yep.
So the 10 of Cups, anybody wants to be able to see the imagery, for anybody that's watching on YouTube or Patreon, you basically see 2 adults with their hands and their arms around each other with their kids playing. There's a rainbow that's forming in the sky that they're all looking up at, with 10 of the cups or trophies, however you'd want to look at that they are just fully feeling like all the way blessed. So the 10 of Cups is the culmination of emotional fulfillment, is the gateway to the next adventure. A celebratory card filled with the energy of completion, the Ten of Cups indicates you've reached an apex of emotional fulfillment. On it, a happy couple stands in an embrace, with their free arms outstretched as they welcome 10 shining cups that have appeared in a rainbow above them. Their two children dance beside them, and a river runs through the lush landscape that they inhabit, leading to a house on top of a hill. The couple has it all, including love, a happy family, and a safe home. They are grateful for their prosperous life. The spiritual message behind it: long-standing family issues are nearly resolved, or you may be headed for a family gathering that will bring everyone closer together. Enjoy the sensation of feeling secure with your overall well-being, and make time to celebrate your success with people who feel like family. You're well on your way to achieving a big milestone goal in your career or love life, propelling you toward your next phase with increased stability. The upright key meanings are happiness and fulfillment, and with it being the 10 of Cups in numerology, it completes the cycle.
Beautiful, beautiful, man. This was fun.
Such a good card.
Thanks for presenting that the way you did, and the information that you just divulged, my good sir, was just great, dude. I don't know. It did a lot for me.
Hey,
I'm
dude.
being honest, man. I can't express that enough. That was just, I don't know, just something.
Just trying to show the crack. You know?
Yeah. Well, not that crack. But,
not that crack.
Right. But maybe, if you're lucky.
I mean, that crack is always where the sun don't shine. So it could be an allegory for the shadow even of itself.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Shine
definitely
some light
something.
on that one. So yeah, that was a fun episode. Hopefully you guys really enjoyed it. Hopefully it inspired you to look at the world in a very different way. Yeah, we appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with us.
Yes.
And we're looking forward to tomorrow night, if you're listening to this on a Sunday, or tonight, if you're listening to it on a Monday, for Psychic Shannon coming back to the show,
dude.
for the live show.
So cool. It's gonna be so cool. I hope that one gets something out of that, as far as like a reading, or I'm sure something like that, or even you know what I mean? Since I've already had that moment of like, oh shit, like there's something to this. I really want somebody out there in the live, or you, to experience it.
I don't even care who it is. It's
so
fascinating seeing it either way.
Mm-hmm. And it's gonna happen. I already know this.
Yeah, just got to surrender to it a little bit.
Yep.
So yeah, I guess we'll wrap it up right there, and we're going to get over to the meditation. As many of you know, the only way to sit in meditation with us is by joining us over at Patreon. We're not going to put it up on YouTube. We're not putting it on the podcast, because then there could possibly be commercial interruption, or you get copyright issues on YouTube. So it's only available on Patreon. However, if you're not interested in the Patreon, just hang tight. We will jump to after the meditation, and then that's where we start to divulge what we experience in said meditation. And usually, I mean, it just cracks the rest of the code entirely open. So hang tight for that. But if that's not what you're interested in, and this is where we leave you. And what we like to say is if the Hermetic principle of polarity came here and it taught you anything, it's that you don't know what you don't know. So don't just get weird.
Stay weird.
Open doors inside your mind. Leave the ordinary far behind. Colors swirl and stars align. In the meta mysteries you'll find.
All right.
What'd you think, man?
Dude, that was no joke. That was pretty instant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was there's just something with resonant frequencies that as soon as you apply the resonance to the resonance that's already coming through, either in your headset already, but even just whenever you're trying to resonate your energy to a specific frequency, such as the Om, right?
Yep.
Dude, there is something really to that, because then now you're operating at a frequency of Om, which is the sound of the universe. And my God, do you just, like, that was one, we talked about it before, but that was one where I could have done that all night. All night. Like, I could have stayed in that vibration literally all night. I love that feeling. And that if that's transcendental, count me in.
Let's do more of that,
Yeah.
Like, let's sprinkle a little bit of that in there, dude. Because I had the same thought as far as when you were talking earlier in the episode about Sadhguru doing that for 30 days or however long it was. And, dude, during that, I was feeling like, oh, I guess I could probably do it for a long time too, because it was just so relaxing, dude. I had my hands kind of just placed flat on my lap, and they weren't weighed down, but they were just to the point of the most relaxation that you can be. You know what I mean? No inclination to move, man. And I actually started to think that I wasn't doing it right. And what I mean by that is that she kept having to say, or she kept saying, like, if you forgot to do your mantra, then just bring it back or whatever. Like every single time she said that, I wasn't doing the mantra because I was like, oh, fuck, like I just forgot. And I started to go into certain thoughts. So when I say that I wasn't doing it right, I don't even think that you can do a meditation wrong, because whatever you're meditating on in that moment, that's where your mind is in that moment. And so whatever your mind's doing is the right thing for you at that moment. But yeah, man, it was I don't know, it was a super nice meditation, man. And I don't know. It was something. There was something else I wanted to mention, and I'm trying to recall it right now. But
Well, I was just looking it up, and so I don't know how long he meditated for his longest, but it says Sadhguru had his first significant spiritual experience after meditating for about 6 days continuously. He also mentioned that many people meditate for years, often entering different states of consciousness during their practice. Years. There's no way that's continuous.
No,
But
no,
even
it can't
6
be.
days
I
is
think it just
pretty
means in
damn impressive.
general, practicing meditation every single day consistently for years, probably. But
Yeah, it says that Sadhguru had his first significant spiritual experience at the age of 25. This occurred after he meditated at Chamundi Hill in Mysore. He described this moment as a profound realization of unity with everything around him.
that makes sense. That seems
Yeah,
like
I mean,
how you would feel, right?
Why you need to get up and take a leak? You're everything.
Yeah. It's like you don't need to do that. You already did.
I'm just going to be that altar over there. That altar don't got to pee,
Another version of yourself already did that.
Yeah. Man, that is so good.
I kept going off task. Like I said, I was just having like random thoughts, and I started to think about, the whole DMT realm, and maybe that is the, because we live in this reality of the polarity, right? And the lower law or whatever is the polarity, and maybe the DMT realm is it gives you that glimpse, or it's that crack into what else is, like, what is outside of this board game.
Dude, and that's the beautiful thing about meditation, is that where you finally get to that deep part of your meditative mind where you're not thinking anything, you're not feeling anything, you're just existing. You only exist as the awareness.
Mm-hmm.
That's the transcendence. Yep. That, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinions, that is God. That is the eternal flame. That is the thing
that is the non-duality.
That is the thing that has never been created and will never die.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, that has to be that.
Yeah. I don't think I got there, Like, I was definitely super relaxed, but I was definitely having thoughts, and then she'd be like, oh, if you forgot your mantra. And I was like, oh, fuck, I keep forgetting. And and there was one point where she was like, feel your body falling into a deeper relaxation. And I remember, like, it had been 30 seconds since she said that, but in my mind, when I thought about it, it felt like she just got done saying the last word of that phrase that she said, and it was like I was experiencing nonlinear time at that point.
Oh yeah.
Like when I brought awareness to it, it sounded like she just got done saying it, but it had probably been 30 seconds.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
It was a weird little thing that happened.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy whenever that happens. But what I was saying is that, whenever she was saying, say it in your mind, I was literally saying it out loud. Like,
oh, were you?
And just allow that to resonate throughout your body.
Okay.
Dude, and it's one thing to say it in your mind. I'm sure that has an effect as well, but
Sure.
whenever you're literally humming it to where every single atom in your body recognizes the vibration of that sound because it's already so familiar with everything else in the universe, dude, that's next level. That's,
Now
I
you
mean,
are
for me, it
everything.
was.
Right. Now you are everything.
Now you are
That's cool.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
So,
man.
yeah, that was a fun meditation, fun show altogether.
Yeah, I almost didn't want to get too far into, what we experienced from the meditation because I felt like the information from the episode that was it, dude. That was the meat, dude. The meat and potatoes.
That's all we're trying to do.
So,
But
yeah, it was a great meditation. I'd like to do that again though and try to stay on task this time. I just couldn't do it, man. Just kept drifting into thought.
And you're not always going to be 100% on.
Yeah.
It's just how it is.
Happens.
There's ebbs and flows of this place.
That's right.
So anyway, all right. Well, like we said, if you're listening to this on Sunday, whenever it drops on Meta Mysteries, then we'll see you tomorrow night if you decide to join us on Patreon for the Wonder Wiz Day tier. If you're listening to this on Monday, we'll see you tonight if you join us on Meta Mysteries with the Wonder Wiz Day tier. And again, that will be with Psychic Shannon. That is going to be so awesome. I can't wait for it. And I asked her and she was like, absolutely, yes, I can't wait to come back. I'm surprised it took this long.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we'll see Psychic Shannon and we will see all of y'all on the flip side.
Bye, guys.
Voices drift on winds untamed, words like spells that can't be named. Close your eyes and feel the sound. Journey where no bounds are found. Open doors inside your mind. Leave the ordinary far behind. Colors swirl and stars align. In the meta mysteries you'll find.